So, what is bracing? Basically, it's stopping your momentum and transferring that energy into whatever it is that you're attempting to do. All sporting motions use it. You've been using it all your life in many different ways. You probably just never knew you were doing it. You've learned how to do it at a young age, and it's easy. You know, throwing a ball, you brace. You put your foot down, hips engage, and you're braced into the front leg as you throw. Hitting a tennis racket, you come back, backhand, foot comes down, you brace, hit down the line. Forehand, same thing again. Foot comes down, brace, hips engage, hit down the line. 10-pin bowling. Foot goes down, brace into it, and swing down the line. Back foot comes in to counterbalance the weight of the ball. It's something that is just done naturally. Kicking a football, here's one that, you know, we've all done it in a different way. Foot comes down, plant, braced into that leg, kick around it. It's very hard to do it in slow-mo because if you're not actually being dynamic in it, you're not in balance in the position. So imagine trying to get into that position where I'm kicking the ball and I'm braced into the leg. I'm not going to be able to do it, I'll just fall over backwards. But because my momentum's going forward and stopping into that leg, then I'm actually lying backwards against that leg. Now I can hold that position here, unless I was some kind of crazy dancer that can do that sort of thing. I can't. But it's basically that. It's stopping your momentum into a position. So in the backhand, disc golf, it's stopping and letting everything flow past you. So it's weight going forward, stopping, everything comes past. The way to see that it's happening is your weight's on the instep's inside the knee, the hips inside the knee, and everything up here is pushing into, the hips are pushing into that locked out front hip before it all opens up. What so many people do with disc golf, it's as though you're throwing a ball in a very, very strange way. Imagine throwing your weight at the ball instead of throwing the ball, where you go back like this and throw like that. Would you do it? You've got no brace in that. That's foot comes down, hips engage, arm goes through. It gets the whip effect coming over the top. In disc golf, people are doing exactly the same thing. They're leaning back out of posture and they're throwing themselves over the top of their leg because it feels like they're throwing it with more power because you're leaning back and you're throwing with your arm and you're falling over the top of it. What you'll see if that's seen in slow motion is as they go forward, they're leaning backwards, so they're actually lined up against the right leg, and then as they come forward, they're leaning over the top of it, no brace at all, they've completely collapsed posture, and they're anchored on the back leg, so there's a line sort of going down there. What you'll see in all good form, this is absolutely across the board, as they come up to it sideways, 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 as they come forward, they shift backwards, so the weight is shifted pretty much the ass going towards the target, and it plants and settles in that front leg. At that point, they're actually kind of lined up on the back leg. You could draw a line from there up to the chin. And then as that pushes through, and all you get the squeeze between the knees position, as the weight, as the momentum transfers through, and everything is bracing into that front leg. At which point, it all, you'd see a snapshot position where they're actually lined up against the front foot. About where the disc comes to here, over the top of the front foot, there'll be a line going down there. That is braced into the front side. And then it releases out as the foot pivots. How do you achieve that? That's the next thing. How do you achieve that? You've probably got years of ingrained bad form, where you've been doing all of this, trying to use just the arm, not using the body. It's quite hard. It can be quite hard, especially if you can't get a frame of reference against another sporting activity where you do a similar thing without thinking about it, because you've been doing it since you're a child. So, what can we do? You've got to try and find that feeling of the brace, that feeling of coming forward and in. And one simple-ish way is just X-step, bang, and fall backwards. Not fall backwards, sorry, push backwards off the front foot. So X-step, bang. And now, so we actually twist the hips away from the target to begin with. So we settle there and then bang. and just try and get that feeling, not with swinging the arm, but just getting the idea of weight settle in and then pushing back, because it is effectively pushing back. The only thing is you've got so much coming forward that you don't push back, it actually pushes back and sends everything up here into your arm and sends it flying away. Beyond that, it's one you've just got to find the feeling for, and slowing down helps, and not trying to throw too hard helps. If you're trying to throw too hard, the arm gets involved and you start trying to throw the upper body again. If you slow it down and just let it whip, everything's loose, just let it whip. That is a much easier way of finding the brace. I can't really do it here with these pine because I'm going to break my hand, but just keep everything loose and let it whip through, and the brace is going to happen naturally. It is broken when you try too hard. That's where it goes wrong. You'll see someone, Ken Jarvis is a perfect example of this. His form is so loose, it's so languid, it's beautiful to watch. He just comes up and he doesn't look like he's putting anything into it at all. It's just loose, languid, or very compact, everything in between the two knees. So that head stays between the knees the whole time. Shifts back, and he's almost down here when he's throwing out. It's everything momentum wise has been pushed into that front leg, and then the hips are pushing against it, and away it goes. So yeah, it's just trying to find a different feeling, and it will feel different from what you're currently doing. It will feel easier, it will feel like you're not throwing, and that's the really counterintuitive bit. It's difficult to get around that idea that you're not trying to throw hard. You're trying to throw loose, you're trying to throw smooth, you're trying to throw easy. And that's when you'll engage the brace and you might not even know you've got it. And those players that you look at that look so smooth and simple through their throws, they've got the brace. They're doing it easy, and they can add power to that later, but to begin with, they've just got an easy, flowing, smooth motion. And that's what you're aiming for.